have a program that we created called Red Bull Big Tune. It's a producer battle. And so we have a pretty, extensive relationship with Red Bull, so a lot of different ideas that we, think about, they support in a good way. So it's really just an extension of a concept of wanting to be able to have, some of our favorite musicians and artists be presented in an environment like this, like an intimate setting, and get a little bit in depth with them in terms of question and answers as one part of it, and then the second part of it being a concert, and that's what we'll do tonight. So it's not real too complicated. Other than it's just an extension of the creative side of the music, finding a way to tell the backstory, and that's where the storyteller comes in terms of finding out what the motivation or inspiration and the different paths that led these artists to be where they are.
So why are we in Terra Barbershop at 34th and Moeller Road on the west side of Indianapolis? When I was looking at venues to do this, I was I was listening to their Stimulus Package album, and there's a line Freeway has where he talks about, sweeping hair in the barbershop as a kid, and I thought that's really dope. If this is a storyteller's event, you think about the history of what the barbershops meant to a lot of the different communities, especially African American community. It was like sharing information, telling stories. That's how people kind of got information to get, pass along. I was like, well, shit, let's just do it in a small hole-in-the-wall barbershop, not one with the big aquariums and the flat-screen TVs. Let's just do it at a real neighborhood spot, like where people would have grown up. So that's why we're here.
Let's talk about how, especially in the African American community, how important the barbershop is. But one thing the barbershop is also known for is just real talk. And so I spoke to them earlier. I said, is there anything that's off limits? And they said no. And if there is anything that they don't want to answer, they're just not going to answer it. So we're just going to take it from there. But let's just get into this, man. I always like to know, as far as artists are concerned, what are your influences? Who are the people that you heard that said, you know what, I want to take a stab at this. I want to go ahead and see what this rap game is really about?
Well, me coming up, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a rapper. But being from Philly at the time, when I was young, it was like real hard for an MC to get on from Philly. It was like basically unheard of besides Will Smith and a couple other people that made it, So growing up, naturally I listened to basically everybody around my age group. The same people they listen to, like Biggie, Tupac. A little before that, I used to love like Naughty by Nature, Black Sheep, Gangstar. Of course I had my own West Coast influences like NWA and people like that.
Okay. Well, do you remember what was the first rhyme that you wrote? You sat down and said, it may not be the best rhyme, of course. It's your first one.
He was reciting it earlier in the car.
That's why I'm laughing, because I just was spitting for that on first rap.
But how old were you? When did you say?
I probably was like 8 or 9. I used to. That's when I used to have like 2 radios, and I played a beat on one radio, then record on the other radio. I used to like that. I remember when Snoop and them came out, the Chronic. I lost it. I remember certain moments when I lost it. When the Chronic came out, I remember when Ready to Die came out. Man, all my homies got the tape. We went and sat in the basement and just was zoning out of that. Wow, we can't believe it. It's crazy, So I got a couple moments that I remember.
Okay, well, this is something that I found interesting. It kind of sets you apart from when you read about other rappers. After your first album hit on Rockefeller, there was a kind of a real kind of break in between the first and the second album.
Yeah.
That's because you really took a introspective look as far as your spirituality is concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
When you went to Mecca and all.
Me being Muslim, going to Mecca is one of your obligations if you ever have the funds. It's not something you get held accountable for if you don't do it, but if you get the funds and the means to do it, you're supposed to at least do it one time in your life. So like you said, it was like a down period after the first album, and I had some free time and I had the money, so I was like, I'm gonna make this move, I'm gonna go to Mecca. And once I was over there, like just seeing the country and seeing the Kaaba, the thing that, you know, we pray to the east, we pray towards the Kaaba. And just seeing that in person and just being over there where it really went down there and where it really started, it like touched me. And like I was talking to like a lot of the scholars and the real influential people in Islam, and their main thing that they was telling me, like, if you go back and you still do the same thing that you was doing before you got here, you didn't really get none out your trip. Like, you wasted your time. So, like, when I got back, that was on my mind heavy. So it was like a struggle that I was going through.
Relationship with Jay-Z right now. Is there a relationship at all?
I mean, me and Jay good. Like, we communicate. I probably ain't talked to him in a couple months, but every time I hit him, he hit me back. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? There's no beef or nothing with me and Jay.
But with that, I mean, that's cool to hear. You know what I'm saying? Because so many people get twisted as far as like, oh well, since people know that you and Beanie Siegel are cool, and you know Beanie's on your album. He's the first voice you hear on your album.
Mm-hmm.
Like, does your relationship, that doesn't hurt your relationship at all with Siegel to have a relationship with Jay and vice versa?
I mean, me and Siegel was like, Siegel Muslim too, so we brothers first and foremost. And second of all, like, that's my man. Like, he put me in the game. I'm gonna stand by him no matter what. Even if I feel it'd be right or wrong, but I'm gonna let him know how I feel about the situation, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna stand by him. Like, we just had a show. Well, he had a show in Baltimore, and I was there with him, you know what I'm saying? And he called me out. I did a couple joints there, and he started going into this Jay-Z act, you know what I'm saying? And that's my man. I'm gonna stand there with him, even though, like, I feel like there's really no reason to be dissing Jay, you know what I'm saying? Like, we should do our music and just do us, you know what I'm saying? But that's my man, so I'm gonna stand by him. I'm not gonna front on him because of that. And vice versa, he's gonna stand by me no matter what decisions I make. If he feel a certain type of way about it, he's definitely gonna let me know. But we gonna do that amongst ourselves. You know?
Well, I also heard a rumor, and like I said, because you're here, I want to just clear it up. And, Wikipedia, they'll put anything up on there. Are you signed to Cash Money? Is that something that you're in a negotiation to do, or is that just?
We was having talks about me signing to Cash Money. You know, it's definitely an option that I can explore if I want to. You know what I'm saying? But right now, like when the position first presented itself, I was definitely real excited about it. You know, but right now, the space that I'm at, as far as myself and with my music, I'm trying to build my brand. I'm trying to build Freeway as a brand. You know, I've always been in the background. Like, people love my music, but I've always been like number 3, or maybe some people might even say number 4, or 5 or 6 for state property. You know, some people might have a person in state property that they might feel as though is stronger than me as an artist. You know, so I never really had a chance to be number 1 and the focus be all about me. So I feel as though that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to establish Freeway as a brand. And I think the Cash Money thing could help, but I feel as though I'm getting the momentum with things that I'm doing, like the stimulus package with me and Jake One, and it's just a good feeling just being out on my own doing it. So I feel as though that's what I'm doing right now, and keep it going like that.